The City of Johannesburg will today vote on a motion of no confidence tabled by the ANC against DA Executive Mayor Dr. Mpho Phalatse. The motion forms part of the agenda of the city's two-day ordinary council that started yesterday. Now, this is a second motion of no confidence in 2 months against Phalatse, who was reinstated by the South Gauteng High Court after she challenged her removal from office in October. Some of the accusations levelled against Phalatse include the grounding of the city's fleet services, and that under Phalatse, the city is in a financial crisis and is faced with technical insolvency. The mayor joins us now via Zoom, and we'll just obviously have that conversation and perhaps get a bit of a reply from her from some of the things that were said against her by our previous guest, Morero, the chair, who spoke to us a little bit earlier, Dada Morero. Thank you again, Mayor. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good morning to all your viewers.
Yeah. So just in terms of a summary of some of the accusations that have been levelled against you, I mean, it's basically a bleak financial outlook, which signals a looming collapse in the municipality, that under your watch, about 30,000 employees will be affected as they are likely to go unpaid in December. Contractors are not paid. The ANC is saying you need to take full responsibility for the instability in the city of Johannesburg and stop misleading the residents by playing down the problems of the city. Perhaps you'd like to respond. What is happening here?
Absolutely, Leanne. I don't know if you followed our press briefing yesterday, where myself and the Mpho Finance, as well as the city's group CFO, tried to really bring the public into confidence as to exactly what's happening in the city of Johannesburg. What people need to understand is that we've got a funding mix that's made up of three main sources of funding. The first one being own revenue that we generate from the sale of water, electricity, property rates and taxes, fines and various other levies. The second one being grants and subsidies that we receive from National Treasury and other tiers of government through different agreements that we may have with them. And the third one being loans. Now, this is our funding mix, and it's always been our funding mix. Loans have always been part and parcel of the city's funding. When loans do not come through, you are likely to end up in financial difficulty. Now, we had projected that we were going to require a loan in the current financial year as part of our funding mix. Unfortunately, when that loan was supposed to come through, people started playing dirty politics, the likes of Councillor Dada Morero. And I say this with confidence. I say it with confidence because in the 25 days when they had illegally taken over the city, they themselves were about to table a report in council signed by the illegal Mpho Finance to secure the very same 2 billion rand loan from the DBSA, which they are now refusing to approve in council to manufacture a crisis. And that's exactly what they're doing. They want to be able to say that the city is ungovernable. They want to be able to say that under the multi-party government, things are not working out in the city. And they're therefore using and manipulating council processes. And the fact that in council, unfortunately, you do need numbers to approve loans, they're now standing in the way of the very same report that they themselves were about to bring to council. This situation was not brought about by the multi-party government. When we don't collect enough revenue as the city, we end up with a cash flow mismatch. And how we're able to address that in the short term is through the likes of short-term loans. And it's not untoward, it's not unusual. We know what our residents and business in Johannesburg have been going through in the last 2 years. We know what the economic climate is like, not only locally, but globally, with COVID-19, the war in Ukraine, and various other things that have affected people negatively. And yes, we've not been able to collect as much revenue as what we would have liked to collect because of factors that are beyond our control. And we do have ways around that. And one of those ways is to get a short-term loan. Now, this loan was going to be repaid in full by June 2023. There's a full repayment plan, and had the loan been approved, there will be no issues in the city. So yes, this is a manufactured problem by Councillor Dada Morero, the ANC, the minority parties that they're working with to collapse the work of the multi-party government.
So, I mean, if we look at some of the, the loan, the DBSA loan is 2 billion rand, which the city voted against yesterday, but apparently which was proposed by the DA. But I mean, if we look at some of the overdrafts at the moment, just the overdrafts alone, the ANC has written about them. They say 8 billion rand for City Power, 1.3 billion rand for Joshco, 811 million rand for JDA, 520 million rand for Metrobus. Not even the loan can touch this. If these numbers are anything to go by, this is what the ANC are saying.
There are so many historic challenges in how the city deals with accounting between the core and the entities. It is a problem that we've inherited. It is a problem that we're actually dealing with decisively through the city manager and the current group CFO. We recognize that this is unusual and it's not healthy for the city, and particularly for the entities. The entities are actually quite frustrated by this accounting practice. And it's something that we're going to do away with. In fact, a lot of the monies owed by the entities are owed to the core. They're actually owed to the city itself. And this is something that can really be resolved internally through accounting practices, and our finance department is on top of it. It's not a problem that started with the multi-party government. If anything, these overdrafts are better now ever since we took over, and I think the MMC for Finance has taken people into confidence as to exactly how the city bled money in the 6 months before the elections last year. So between July 2021 and December 2021, I think we bled about 2.7 billion rands in that time alone. And we managed to reduce it significantly by introducing internal controls and strict measures and monitoring systems to look at expenditure in the various departments and in the entities. So Councillor Morero must not come and lie to our residents and viewers about what's going on in the city here. There were huge challenges under the ANC-led administration, which we've begun to deal with quite decisively, and we will continue to do so.
Well, the ANC say that before, from 2016 onwards, that's where all the problems began. This is where things started going horribly wrong. Before that, everything was fine.
Of course they will say that, but I mean, our residents aren't foolish. People can see for themselves, even just their quality of life, their day-to-day lived experiences tell a story. No, it's not true. In 2016, things started to move in a positive trajectory. Unfortunately, in 2019, the DA-led administration was ousted, and in those 2 years, we started to see huge decline in how things were managed in the city. We started to see huge maladministration, a lot of corruption starting to fester in the city again. When we took over in November last year, we started cleaning up again, and hopefully we get to stay and we get to clean up, and the city gets to function normally for once and for all.
Yeah, I'm going to pause you just just for 2 minutes, if you don't mind. I need to quickly take a break and then come back, and we'll talk about what is about to happen today. So, Mayor, thank you. We'll just take this quick break. Time really not on our side. It's been stolen from us. Mayor, I have to sort of start wrapping this up. And my greatest concern is that all we are seeing as the residents of Joburg is we are seeing fighting happening at a leadership level where we should be seeing good things happening, not bad things happening. I mean, to sit and listen about cars and how much is owed and how much isn't owed, and at the end of the day, we are the ones, the Joburg residents are the ones suffering. Now, when you were removed for the first time last month, your retort was that this was an ANC coup. Are there any problems that point to the way the DA has conducted its business in the city? And will you accept a motion of no confidence if everything is done in accordance to the process and you vote it out?
The Democratic Alliance and its partners have been working hard to rebuild and repair the city. Everything that we have done has been in the interest of our residents. It's been in the interest of the rebuild of the city and progress. What the ANC and their partners have been doing is the opposite. They've been working hard to destroy, destabilize, to take us back so that they can come in and loot and steal from our residents. All their actions show they do not care about our residents. All they care about is their selfish agenda. We're seeing very immature politicking, and you're right. Our residents don't need all these fights. They need to accept that the multi-party government is in power and allow us to do the work that we need to do without destabilizing the work of government. They cannot be bringing motions of no confidence every month. At some point, they do need to accept and allow a bit of stability for the benefit of our residents. We're going into council today, and yes, we're going to fight that motion. If the motion is carried, yes, it would have been carried through a democratic process. If there is illegality, we will continue to appeal to our criminal justice system to deal with that. So we'll see what happens today. I'm positive. I'm going in, and I'll continue to fight for our residents.
Mayor, we leave it there. We are watching very closely. We certainly are. Thank you for your time. I know you're going into council sitting within an hour. So that's the Joburg Metro Executive Mayor, Dr. Mpho Phalatse.